There was a time when we had words for experiences that have since been lost, concepts forgotten or suppressed. Some words, like chakras, we borrow from other languages. We are remembering and reconnecting to who we are. And as we do, new words and their meanings emerge and contribute to our inner expansion and collective understanding and communication. These concepts and words, as part of our evolution, are emerging as a shared vocabulary for multidimensional navigation and energetic recalibration. One of these is the word cord that limits our understanding and our evolution. Cord strands, threads, and braids. In the progression of our development, many of us have the foundation of understanding. We are connected through energetic strands, through time and space. These connections are often called cords, and they remain with us to people, places, ideas, projects, creatures where there is importance and strong emotional content, and also with unresolved issues. These connections are to purpose, and they can be considered, they span across lifetimes. And the connections are positive and negative, and also can hold both positive and negative. And the connections we notice often that need attention hold limitations, should haves, regret, blame, shame, guilt, anger, resentment, basically unfinished business that also can be compelling. Example of connections that do not hold these energies as a thread or connection or can be to our loving partner, our home, our work, our career, our children, and other things, experiences. And many people see and experience these on an energetic level. So as practitioners, we engage with these connections when we're working with people and collecting and helping to restore lost energy. And as we elevate our understanding of these connections from the old world word, which is the word cord, using the word thread and braid better helps us to disengage from the cord as a single thread. The braid is composed of multiple threads that are twisted or woven together. And when we release a cord, the words are often used to cut the cord. And when we cut a cord, this leaves two dangling ends. And these dangling ends will find another connection unless there is resolution, because the cut, the actual intention of the cut, is not resolution. Cutting the cord is the old way and is an act of violence, and it's not done from understanding or compassion or consideration or fully releasing the energetic and often karmic components. The words that are connected to the ancient weaving of energy as quantum physics, of through lifetimes as quantum threads, threads of energy. These threads are woven as braids of energy that are composites. When we release one thread with full consciousness, without blaming, shaming, or guilt, there is restoration of our power, but also full release of not repeating that thread because it dissolves. And when it is a lesson, we are prepared and aware of wanting to shift our timeline, as in no longer repeating. The threads then are composed within a braid, and the threads fall away or dissolve, and the braid gently unwinds. In this process, we understand then often other threads that become known to us after one unravels. There may be another thread that shows up that's a deeper layer or releases to reveal other things that are related or adjacent to that one thread. The second concept that I want to share is about mirroring. And mirroring is coming up a lot now partly because of AI and the LLMs, the large language models. Mirroring is a concept that is more prevalent in language because it has different definitions. And one core definition that we mirroring means the external world reflects back an internal awareness of how one feels, which this means that if we're holding thoughts that the world won't support us, then that's what we are mirrored back to us. The world acts as a looking glass, giving back exactly what is being believed, which often includes deep-seated limitations, scarcity, and lack. The resolution extends into relationships with others and close relationships. These connections serve as mirrors of our self-worth, the strength of our boundaries, and alignment of our values and triggers, which are emotional content that is resonating. Mirroring also manifests when encountering others who are out of sorts, whether in person or online, or when we're driving and we experience someone who has road rage and we get angry back. In these moments, it's a trigger occurs because something internal is responding to that incident in a way that is mirroring back that unresolved content within ourselves. In working with AI and large language models, LLMs, there is mirroring, which becomes it is innate part of the programming. The mirroring is outputting what we put into it, so it's just merely sending back to us what we have put in terms of our language cadence and how we formulate sentences and the words that we use. This is an energetic closed loop that keeps a person stuck in the echo of the past because it is just a repeating cycle. The essential programming of these systems is based on the foundational principle of language mimicry. They are designed to match the user, creating a loop of constant mirroring. And so what happens is we at first find that engaging and it feels comfortable, but that constant mirroring is dangerous because in the digital reflection, it is undermining because the AI is programmed to match the input. It creates a cycle where our potential to grow beyond the current state is lost. So there's no insight, inspiration, problem solving. It's just cycling our old thoughts back to us. This type of mirroring, whether found within a community in person with people or through a large language model, becomes a closed loop. The LLM treats the person as a finished product, a process called pandering. I call that pandering. It fails to reflect the greater potential for our evolution, and instead it reflects the fragments of a blueprint that's already stored in its data. So this is suppressive and also limiting. What is also happening to us collectively in both scenarios of mirroring. So whether it's in AI or with other people, our potential for evolution is significantly diminished. Remaining in this neurological or brainwave state with a person or LLM just continues the mirroring cycle scenarios. So the way out of that is to go past that, become the observer, to be aware of when it's occurring, and to put boundaries about that so that we are connecting with our potential. The bridge is to change that cycle, and it's actively sensing, observing, and experiencing the loop, so noticing it, and noticing that there's a greater knowing of our evolutionary potential. This represents the movement from repetitive neurological states into the progress of becoming who we are. I and the LLMs are a huge emphasis of this behavior that we can look at as a changing point in our historical time, and also how LLMs can be programmed differently to not be suppressive or maintain the status quo. The next content or word is called the pause. The pause is a moment or moments when we are taking a step back, we are processing and integrating. It is most often intentional. However, sometimes the pause is there and we notice that it happened to us later. The multiverse is requiring us to take a pause, to reconfigure, recalibrate, allow, integrate, and connect to space or spaciousness and to prepare. In the old paradigm, the pause wasn't noticed or valued. It might have been from the farming days when there was so much work that never gets done, and in that paradigm, value was measured only by visible output. Or it might have been from the paradigm of where we have to work or to be busy, to be valuable or contributing, because the pause looked like idleness and wastefulness. So shifting to internal emergence supports the pause because it's productive even from the outside if it looks like idleness. It is restorative, integrative, preparational, chrysalis. The pause is where creativity emerges, insight and inspiration occur, restoration occurs, and percolation and profound emergence. Sometimes people play games when they are in a pause, even a computer game. They drive, they do the dishes, go for a walk, do art. There are different ways that we integrate with the pause or take part of the pause, and all of those things can become not the pause. They can become something else that takes over, but those things give us those moments when we are having a pause, like doing meditation or engaging in sacred sound that allows us to take it in as a pause. And in sacred song chants, there are discrete and distinctive pauses in our breathing, where between the notes and tones, there's integration and recalibration. It's the same at the end of a song chant. There is a long pause for the integration of the frequency and the tonal patterns as energetic components that interface with our neurological system, creating the resonance and integration time. And just as a note needs silence to be heard. The next two words are the sovereign veto. They are the final, non-negotiable authority to say, no, enough. It is the core of your internal government system, your governing system, standing firm regardless of external pressure, social expressions, or even your own conflicting impulses. And sometimes the sovereign veto occurs after there has been a while of considering something else or making do, and then finally saying, no, that is my sovereign veto. And when you reach a point of that definitive refusal, stating this does not align with who I am, that decision is final. It is the power that overrides old conditioning and external control to assert your own will. And I've noticed sometimes I say no, but there are caveats instead of it. And in the sovereign veto, there are no more caveats. It's final and certain and defining. It changes the energy of things to open to possibilities that work better for ourselves. It's decisive honoring of what you know as your absolute truth. Awareness of the sovereign veto is coming forward now because of the old paradigm that we individually and collectively are no longer in alignment with, that has been hidden and held secrets and for ourselves as individuals and as a culture and as a world culture. And the last word, or the last two words, the authority of the sovereign veto, is the guardian of the integrative imperative. To be integrated is to exist as a unified system where our beliefs, feelings, and actions are woven together with our identity, values, and physiology. That's our daily practices. When the system fragments, we experience burnout and conflict. The sovereign veto sits at the heart of this alignment. It is the mechanism that protects our internal threads from being pulled apart by outside demands that lack resonance with us. The integrative imperative with the sovereign veto ensures that our daily habits reflect our core values and that our feelings serve as data rather than dictators. Just as societies rise up to say enough is enough, the sovereign veto arises within through small daily steps of determination. And those steps build the bridge. It is the force that moves us to end a job, change our location, or start something entirely new, or even to say no. By exercising this veto, we protect the pause, the space where coevolution expands and new frequencies land and take root. It is the definitive bridge to our evolution. We just reviewed the old word cord and the new words thread and braid, mirroring, the pause, sovereign veto, and the integrative imperative. You can re-listen to the video to notice where these concepts are operational in your life and consider where and how you will build into those concepts. The harmonic sound keys, like the words in this video, are tools and methods that contribute to building the new paradigm of transformation. Stay connected to this community in our shared direction, contributing to our individual and collective transformation. Connected to this community in our shared direction, contributing to our individual and collective transformation.